How much is porn costing me? Now, that might be a question you've asked yourself. I can tell you thousands of guys have asked me that question as we've gone through and done our intakes and helping them establish how much of my life, how much of my time, how much of my money has gone into pornography, masturbation, acting out behaviors. That's our topic today. And I have a worksheet for you to be able to actually give you a raw number on how much porn is costing you. So stay tuned. Welcome back. I know this is an interesting topic because you don't ever think about, pornography costing you anything, because a lot of guys are like, well, Dr. Weiss, I get a lot of the free stuff on the internet, so that doesn't cost me anything. And they don't realize the cost of their time, the value of their time, and so many other implications. Now I'm talking about how it impacts the marriage, how it impacts their family, how it impacts their productivity. Just on that, let me just share with you. Now, I've been working with people who struggle with pornography, porn addicts, for over 35 years. Most of the guys who control their own income, these are entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, more than double their income in 12 months. In 12 months, they double their income just from stopping pornography and masturbation. Now, can you imagine doubling your income and what that looks like over the course of your life? Yes, you can be extremely more wealthy if pornography and masturbation is not in your life. Now, I want to walk with you through a worksheet, and you can get this worksheet if you want to. You can go to drdougweiss.com/cost and just click that, and you can get the worksheet sent to you, and it'll be great, okay? You want to fill this out. But what we do here, we have a worksheet here, okay? And what we evaluate is the time that you spend in pornography, because you could be making money, you could be creative, you could be spending time with your family, you could be spiritually connecting, learning the piano, doing so many other wonderful things than evaporating your time into pornography. So what we do here is we look at your time, say from 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 30 to all the way 5-year increments. And what you do is you guess at how often you were spending time with pornography. 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week. I know a lot of guys who binge, and sometimes it's 6, 8, 10 hours. Sometimes it's whole weekends, okay? And they get nothing else really done, okay? Their wife goes away for the weekend and they find themselves on the computer 6 hours at a time. So what you do is you go ahead and you fill out the sheet and you look at, okay, here's your time. Now you multiply that time times 52 weeks. Okay, so if it's 2 hours, that's 100 hours a year, right? If it's 3 hours, it goes on and on and on. Then, this is really what you want to know. What was your hourly rate at the time? Now, at 15, you might have been making only a few bucks an hour. Okay, but at 40, you might be making 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 bucks an hour. Okay, well then that automatically sets you up that porn is costing you more of your time and it's costing you more money. Okay, then what you do is you total that out for every single year. Okay, for you got older guys, you got more numbers to figure that out. And then you give yourself a grand total of how much that cost you. Now, there are other behaviors that can cost you as well. So this is more of your time cost. But I can tell you generally it's about 200 to 300,000 for the average income guy. For some guys who make a lot of money, I've had this number go as high as several $1 million because their time's just worth more money. So that's that. Then you have the hard cost. If you're into prostitutions, what have you spent on prostitutes? If you're into phone sex, what have you spent in phone sex? What have you spent on internet? Signing up for different subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. What have you spent in counseling if you had to go to counseling because you got in trouble or caught or it's caused marital problems? What have you spent in counseling? Sometimes that alone can be tens of thousands of dollars. What have you spent in a guilt offering? A guilt offering is, I've been a bad boy, and whether my wife knows it or not, or my husband, because women can have the same issue, I buy them something, or I take them on a trip, or I gift them in some way, I buy them a more expensive car because I feel bad about what I'm doing secretly, okay? Now, if your spouse knows everything about this, you might not suffer from having guilt offerings. The actual cost of pornography. There is free pornography, of course, because of the internet, but then you end up subscribing and you get into movies and you get into other services. You might get into chat rooms and you're spending hundreds of dollars a month or thousands having these girls be on the other line and talk to you and expose themselves and you masturbating to them and all that kind of stuff. It gets really, really expensive. Okay, so any legal fees, because sometimes you can get into legal situations that are related to your pornography acting out or sex addiction. Maybe you're voyeuring, exposing yourself. Maybe you do some illegal behavior. You start recording somebody that doesn't give you permission to do that. Okay, maybe you have a divorce because of the pornography and your lack of emotional, spiritual, and moral maturity in a marriage. It might have dissolved the marriage. And you have child support. So how much has your divorce or child support cost? Now, that all by itself sometimes can be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars because you take it over time. So let's suppose your child's 10 years old. Your child support's maybe $2,000 a month. Well, you got 10 years of that. So 2 times 12 is 24, times 10 is $240,000 because of pornography. Now you can see how these numbers start adding up. If you've had lost business or educational opportunities, you didn't finish your degrees, okay, because you were too busy doing porn, okay, or you got fired. You got caught downloading pornography, and I can tell you right now, a lot of businesses monitor your computers without having to tell you that they do that. And I've had many guys and some women who gotten fired for the sexual content they were downloading, the fact that they were using company time to sit on the computer for 2 to 6 hours to looking at pornography, and the IT people can just show them, you spent 6 hours on the computer looking at porn. Or what happens when you're doing pornography is you can get really desensitized and you think everyone wants to have sex with you. So you start flirting with coworkers, you start grooming them, you start sending them little emails or texts that says, hey, you look really good today, you look cute in that. Man, I wouldn't throw you out of bed. Little things like that, and you're in someone's office. And you're talking to HR, and they're talking about a package. I'm thinking of one particular case. This guy was a very top-notch executive, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, got caught downloading pornography, got fired, and he was in his mid-50s. And he couldn't find another job like that for the rest of his career and ended up working for tens of thousands of dollars instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars. That could easily be a significant cost. So for him, his cost was at least $1 million in lost income. Now, what you do is you total up all your hard cost, you total up your time cost, and then you can know how much porn is costing you. Now, as I've said earlier, I've done masturbation histories on at least 5,000 men and women. And so when I do this, I find out when they started, how often, what they're masturbating to. That tells you what they're going to be triggered by, but that helps in establishing their cost. When they do the cost card, the average person, I would say probably the $50,000 to $80,000 a year person is going to spend about $250,000 or more. And as you go up, it goes up significantly. And I can't tell you how many men and women looked at this sheet and go, wow, this not only has cost me, it's going to keep costing me. And if I keep doing this, it could be a real problem. So if you're struggling with a porn addiction and you don't know what to do, and you've tried and cried and prayed, and you made promises to quit, but you can't, and you don't stop, you don't block your cell phone or your computers, and you get around it, and you really have an addiction. I understand. I'm a recovering sex addict. I've been sober for over 36 years, okay? I do a polygraph to verify that. So you can be free from this. If it's costing you a lot, you need some help, call our office, 719-278-3708. And you can get help with a therapist or get in a group. There's lots of materials at sexaddict, sexaddict.com. Okay, we've even talked about the impact on a spouse. If you have a porn addiction, it's massive. Depression, PTSD, their sexuality being impacted, and on and on. There's a whole book on partner betrayal trauma that we go through the statistics. So if you think this isn't hurting anyone, it really, really is. But I want to really reach out to you compassionately and say, if this is costing you a lot, it doesn't have to keep costing you. There's help, there's hope. You can get in phone groups, you can reach out to somebody, talk to a counselor or a coach, and you don't have to have this cost. And you might be one of those people who doubles their income in 6 to 12 months. I'll tell you a quick story. I did a conference in Florida, and this really tall, handsome Cuban guy comes up to me after I did it a year ago. I did the same conference a year later. Well, he was at the first one and came to the second one. So a year later, he comes up to me real close and he says, hey, I want to take you to lunch. I said, well, if my host is okay with that, it's great. Took me to a great Cuban restaurant. We're sitting there eating, and he said, well, I want to take you to lunch because I want to tell you that you were wrong. I said, well, okay, I'm open to be wrong. How was I wrong? He said, you told me if I stopped masturbating last year that I would double my income. And you were wrong. I quadrupled it. I work in a corporation, and I was promoted several times over the last year because I'm much more aware. I know what's going on. I'm much more grounded and much more creativity, and I'm much more focus. And I quadrupled my income, and I'm buying you lunch to say thank you. Well, you don't have to buy me lunch, but if you want to send me a thank you, please do. If you have yet to subscribe to our channel, we have hundreds of helpful videos that can help you in all different kinds of life, marriage, recovery, healing, all that kind of stuff. Please subscribe, hit that button so you can be notified when something new pops out. We do it every week. And also, if you have a question about this or any question, feel free to put it in the box. We'll get back to you as soon as possible to respond to you. And I do want you to know, there's hope. If this is costing you, you don't have to keep paying the cost. You can be free, well, whole, happy, and more connected than you ever thought possible. I know because I've been sober for over 36 years, and I've helped thousands and thousands of men and women get well and stay well. So, until we see you next time, please take your next step.